So have you personally seen any visibly pregnant students on campus?
Once my freshman year, at the very end of the year, I remember sitting in Greasy Deck with a couple of my friends, and we saw a girl walk by and she was pregnant, and we were all just like, what the, again, it was one of those situations where that's messed up.
Oh man, not a student. I don't think so. I know there's a girl I know that was pregnant and had a kid, but like she hid it or like wasn't in school during it or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So why do you think that is? What do you think is happening?
Well, I mean, I'm sure abortions happen even though they're not wanted. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of reasons.
Like I said, me and the other people I know that already had children, I hadn't really thought about it that much, but I mean, the more I do, there's not very many here.
Why do you think that is?
I think most of them kind of quit school for a while. Like all the ones that I know that have children aren't in school, or they just take 1 or 2 classes at like a community college. Or
I haven't seen anyone on campus that's pregnant, and it surprised me my freshman year because I figure we're like in our 20s, somebody should be pregnant. But yeah, also like school policies and stuff, and the thought processes I've thought about it before.
Have you seen other pregnant students on
I
campus?
have not, and I'm not sure how to feel about that because it's a good thing that maybe girls aren't getting pregnant, but then it's also possible that people are hiding it for whatever reason and not getting any help that they might need, or maybe they feel ashamed about it. So
you're honestly the first one I've seen in 4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
So you haven't seen any other pregnant students, really? So why do you think that is? Would you say it's a bad thing, good thing?
It's a neutral thing, I think. It kind of says, where we are in our lives, kind of.
All right. So have you ever had any pregnant students in your classes before?
I don't think so. None that I knew to be. I've had a number of students with children because that comes up sometimes in discussion.
And how would you approach those students with children?
Well, sometimes we talk about it because I had a kid. I have a kid now 2.5. So in that time, I've had a couple students we've shown pictures. Here's mine. Here's yours. Sometimes in some of the ethical debate we come up with, for instance, the abortion debate, I've had a couple students come to me because they were making that decision at one point and they talked about it. And that I have to manage carefully because I'm working hard to present the theory and not, I think it has a counseling effect to think about these things theoretically, but I don't want to move into the role of counselor.
Have you ever had any pregnant students before or seen any?
I have had pregnant students before, yeah.
Okay, so how did you approach them in terms of classroom policies and stuff like that?
The big thing I was in, I'm trying to think, I think the best example would be in the Principles of Biology course. In lecture, we have no policy other than be a student. However, in lab, we do ask that students identify themselves because we have a number of times when labs use chemicals that have known carcinogens, and we want to maintain the utmost safety for all of our students and especially pregnant students. So we ask that they come see us, and then there are certain labs where we just have to make sure that they aren't using certain chemicals, or perhaps not participate in those labs, in which case we make some sort of alternative arrangements for them.
All right. What about parenting students? Have any students come to you and said they had children, and how did you approach them?
I've had a couple of students, in particular one I can think of within the last couple of years. She said she had to miss class a couple times because she had childcare issues. My response was, bring the child. It was a small lecture class. I told her that, assuming that the child, would be able to amuse themselves, I guess is perhaps a good phrase, bring them whatever it is they need, that, we would discuss it with the rest of the class, and barring anyone's objections, I would much rather her be there as a student than have to miss class because of childcare issues.
On another end, I actually think students need to be prepped because pregnant faculty hear bizarre things from students. Pregnant faculty I know have heard students say, well, if I knew you were pregnant, I'd have gone for someone else. There's a belief that pregnancy is so emotional that can't do their work. So my end of it comes from that. That is ridiculous.
The statistic is 1 in 10 college students get pregnant each year. So with your knowledge about the sexual activity on campus, would you say that, at least initially, pregnancies on campus are on par with national average?
Pregnancies on this campus? Yes, I would say yes, only because I think that a lot of those pregnancies might end in abortion.
I think that it's kind of one of those things that the school says, oh, you know, if it's not here, it didn't happen. And that's not the way that it works.
I don't know that it's probably as high as the 1 in 10, but I also don't think it's as low as what the administration thinks it is. I mean, I think it's probably fairly close to that national average.
And so I feel like it does happen, and I feel like that a lot of people, you know, since it's not acceptable on campus, you know, that the 1 in 10 or the, you know, 5 in 10, whatever you want to say it is, you know, they just have an abortion. I feel like that's so strong about our campus because either one, they don't want to tell their parents, or, you know, I've even heard parents that are in support of it so they can see it slow, and I just think it's ridiculous. But I definitely do agree that the rates are on par with the national college rates.
I would probably say yeah.
I want to say no.
No?
That sounds a little high for me to me.
So what do you think, what do you think is different?
I'm not really sure, but I think it might have something to do with the fact that we're a Catholic university, and just, I don't know, moral condemnation, once again, being Catholic kind of plays out in people's decision making, perhaps.
So how do you think SLU as an institution can improve its perception or in reaching out to pregnant parenting women?
It's always a good idea to make it more, visible on campus, because it's not necessarily something that needs to be hidden at all. Like, I don't find anything wrong or shameful in it. I mean, it's a baby. Maybe it wasn't planned, but that doesn't mean it was a mistake. So I think that there should definitely be options and visibility so that people who do get pregnant feel comfortable being on campus and have the right resources to go to, so that if they decide to, they can make the appropriate choice for their circumstance.
You know, I've been in contact with a lot of them that are pregnant or parenting, so it definitely does happen on our campus. But I've been in contact with them, and I think the biggest help they could get from the SLU community is having some type of daycare facility.
I definitely think some kind of daycare here would be very, very helpful, because there's not, I mean, like I said before, I chose to get married, so I can't get assistance for daycare, and what my husband makes just isn't enough. And so something like that would be amazing, to where I could take him there, even if I wanted to study, you know, take him there and go to the library and study for a couple hours and go pick him up. That would be so helpful.
I think that making the policy more prominent would be a better idea.
So do you think there's anything that the school could do, you know, to...
Well, I just think it's more like a perception thing, where, like, it's just being accommodating, I guess.
That I think that there needs to be, in academia in general, a discussion on how to handle pregnancy, because of the way that academics, women academics' schedules work. Basically, you try and time your babies to have them in the summer, but it's very difficult to, if you have to take half a semester off, to find ways to cover, and a lot of that is done on a lot of campuses just by kind of one-on-one negotiation. So I would like to see kind of a real discussion among women academics about how to deal with the problem.
What else do you think we could do besides what's already been done?
Daycare.
Daycare.